Hey, welcome to the weekly Wednesday breakthrough. I'm Carolyn Bishop, your business with balance coach. And today we're going to be talking about 4 steps you can take as a leader if you're feeling like you've got too much to do and too little time right now. So that is our topic today. And this actually came from a really great conversation I was having with somebody yesterday when one of my clients where lots of things are coming at her, lots of things were happening, and I was kind of laughing as I was getting ready for this morning because I'm a few minutes late for my typical weekly Wednesday live. I didn't end up putting out the notifications yesterday. I didn't do reminders, so this is like boom, I'm just showing up in my group like I do every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific. And I was like, yeah, I totally feel where you're coming from when things are coming at you and the days just get away. And I went for a dog walk yesterday and said, have a great weekend to one of my friends, thinking it was Friday. And she's like, it's Tuesday, right? I was like, oh, good Lord. Like, I was a little all over the place. I was feeling scattered. And then I had this great conversation with one of my clients yesterday because she came onto a call saying, I feel like I'm doing so much that I'm not getting anywhere. Have you ever felt that before? Have you ever felt like you've been doing so much that you're not getting anywhere? And she used the word overwhelm, and she used the word like too much to do, too little time. So, hello, thanks for popping in. Yes, say hi if you are here with us. Let me know that you're here, and let me know if you have experienced that as a leader. We can have a lot of things when you're responsible to coach others, or you're responsible to train and guide other people, or you're responsible for a staff in your business. But have you ever felt like you have too much to do, too little time? Or have you felt like you're doing so many things that you just aren't progressing? You're just kind of trying to keep your head above water, or you're just spinning in place because you're working hard. Like, you are doing a lot of stuff, but you're not necessarily feeling the progress that you want. Would you say me in the chat if that is ever you? I mean, I had it this week. I had it this morning. I'm late this morning to this live because of this. So what I want to do is I want to share with you the 4 steps that we talked through yesterday in this conversation I had with this amazing woman, and give you some things that as a leader you can implement really quickly. And what it does is it just gives you a quick grasp on the situation, lets you release some things really, really quickly, and lets you move forward in a state of like power and progress. And it is really, really empowering when you do this. And it's very simple to do. So yes, you were talking this morning about having to reheat your coffee 3 to 4 times because of interruptions, right? I think we've all done that, where we heat something up. My husband was laughing at me the other day because he found my egg bites that I put in the microwave every morning in the microwave at like 4:30 when he got home from work, and he was like, busy day. And it's the funny thing is that day was not anything super productive, but I was just going and had so many things happening. So we all have them. Yes. Okay. So you guys get it. You get it. Okay. So what I want to do is, when this seems to hit your business overall and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to coach these people. I got to talk to these clients. I got to take care of those customers. I want to get this event out. I want to do this. And you've got all these things on your mind, and your personal life is coming. Maybe you're taking care of kids. Maybe you're taking care of parents. Maybe you've got another job that you work with your business, but you've got all these things that are kind of spinning in your mind. Yes. Do you have that? Say me if that's you too. And what I want to do is give you a 4-step process to really get a grasp on this quickly and just be able to move through it, move past it, and get back into a place of feeling, I got this, and the productivity and the results that come with it. Okay. So yes, is this feeling good? Okay, here we go. Grab your pen and paper, because I'm going to give you the questions that you're going to want to ask yourself to then move through. And you may want to step away from this after and then really reflect on these questions. Okay, so here we go. The first question you want to mess with. I was reading the question. The first question you want to ask yourself when this happens and you're kind of in that state of overwhelm is, okay, what are all the things that I have that are coming at me? What are all the things on my calendar that I'm trying to put into my days that are really important to me that I don't want to mess with? This is the word that what are the parts you don't want to mess with? So if you think about the last week, And if you've had a scrambly week and you think, what are all the things I've done? Okay, that's kind of the first thing is you've got to get a grasp on all those things that are coming at you, all the things you're doing, all the things you've been spending your time, energy, or money on. I'm thinking, what are all those things that I'm outpouring all that stuff to? And what are the parts that I don't want to mess with? Like they're good, they're fabulous, they're getting me results, they're making me feel like things are moving, they're really important to me. So, in this conversation I had yesterday, to give you some ideas, some of the things that this woman and I came up with, she is homeschooling someone. So, she was like, I don't want to mess with that. I don't want to mess with not homeschooling my child because I don't want to send them back to school. I love that time. I like that we're doing it together. That's important to me. That was one thing. Another thing was coffee with her husband, right? So if you're watching this, you know who you are. This conversation was amazing yesterday, but coffee with her husband was really important to her. She loved that they get to sit down and chat and spend that time together every day. That was something that she didn't want to mess with. So other things were church activities, her personal health stuff that she does. Like there, I could think of this for me. So some of the things I don't want to mess with is the time that I have with my kids each day. We have times that, I'm with them in the morning, I'm with them when they get home from school. And because we've all got so many activities during the day and after school and things are happening. So I have times with each of my kids that are clear every day that I know are going to happen. Uh, so that is something I don't want to mess with. Something else I don't want to mess with would be a date night with my husband. Something else I don't want to mess with. And then on a business side is my coaching time with my clients. I don't want to mess with that. I want to make sure that's there. So that is question number one. As I want you to think of, if you've been feeling a little scramby and overwhelmed and you've got lots because you are a leader and you're responsible for a lot of things, first thing to do is identify what are the things I don't want to mess with. What's really important to me that I don't want to mess with, that's fabulous in my life, that I want to like make sure it continues happening, that I don't want to change it around. I don't want to adjust anything with that. That is how I want it to be. I don't want to mess with it. Okay. So write down, if you're willing, if you're on here with me live here, write down, or if you're watching the replay, what are some of the things you don't want to mess with that you already have functioning that are going really well? So for me, I would write down this weekly live at 9 o'clock. Yes, I was a little late this morning, but at 9 a.m. Pacific every Wednesday, I go live right here. I don't want to mess with that. That's been working for years now. It's going great. It's in my schedule. It feels easy. It's great. I don't want to mess with that. I also don't want to mess with coaching time for my clients. I do a lot of one-on-one with my clients, a lot of deep personal conversations that really move people and really get them results in their business. I don't want to mess with that. I don't want to suddenly switch to all group coaching, or I don't want to, that is something that's really powerful in my world that I love. I don't want to mess with that. And then I already shared some of the personal examples, the time that I have with Katie, the time that I have with Jake, the time that I have with Corey. That's my immediate family. If you haven't watched me before, if you don't know, I also don't want to mess with showing up to all my son's basketball games. I don't want to mess with being there for all my daughter's dance competitions. Like those are things I don't want to mess with. So what are some of the things you don't want to mess with? That is question number one that is working. Okay, that is going well. Because what we're trying to do with that question is, within the overwhelm of all the stuff that you have as a leader, as somebody who runs a high level business that is not just a hobby, but this is something that you are really growing, you're really building, you have a passion behind it. There's a lot to it, and there's a lot to life as well. So you want to pull out amidst all the things and all the ideas and all the thoughts and all the plans and all the projects, what's working and what don't you want to mess with. Okay, so that is number one. Have you got some? I know the comments are quiet right now because you're probably writing down. I hope. So if you've got some things, if you're willing to share them, go for it. Okay. Then number two is, you don't even want to, we're not even talking about all the other stuff now. All we did was we identified the things that were really important, really powerful, you don't want to mess with, and get those down first. Then second thing you want to do is put those onto the calendar. Put those onto the calendar. So this actually has a couple layers to it that I'm going to get into, kind of a deeper, some bigger strategies with this for leaders that make sense. So first of all, there's going to be some that are just black and white. You put them onto the calendar. Oh, that is from 9 to 1. Okay, like the conversation I was having yesterday, the homeschooling, it's 9 to 1. That's set. It's certain days of the week. It's there. It was easy to put on the calendar. But there were other things that we talked about that you may not be able to know. So, for example, you may not be able to just put them on the calendar right now. It can take some deciding, it can take some conversations to figure out when it's right. So, let me give you a real life example. For me, one of the things that is, I don't want to mess with it, is that I do some type of live event, whether it be a boot camp or a workshop or something, about every 2 months. Okay. I have my evergreen systems flowing in my business. I have my ongoing sales that are happening, I have things going, but I love having the boost of a live event that I do about every 2 months. And I don't want to mess with that. That's on my I don't want to mess it list. Okay. So, but I can't necessarily right now, just today, go, oh, let me put that on my calendar. It's going to take conversations with my team. It's going to take conversations with my family to figure out our dates and what's happening and when we're traveling and what's going on. I've got to really think about the prep time for promoting the event, getting people to it, all of those things. So it's a deeper decision than just saying, oh, it's 9 to 1, Monday through Thursday, right? I can't do that with that type of thing. But what I can do, and this is kind of the deeper piece for leaders, right? When you're responsible for organizing events that involve other people, or you're responsible to set up things that are not just a quick, easy decision, but they take some thought behind them. Then what you want to do then is put on your calendar for this number 2 piece when you're deciding that. So you may not say, I'm doing a boot camp on these days yet. But what you can do right away with this, okay, these are things that are happening in my world that I don't want to mess with. And step 2, I want to put them on my calendar, but I don't know when that one's going to happen yet or what's going to happen. Oh, what I can put on my calendar is the date that I'm going to make those decisions. So here's a personal life example, again, from this conversation we had yesterday with my client. Is one of the things she really wanted to have is her grandkids sleeping over a couple times a month. And so that takes conversation with the grandkids' parents, right? That's going to take coordination of different calendars. That involves other people. So it wasn't just something she could say, I'm going to take the kids on these dates, right? Because there's other people involved. She couldn't do that. But what she could put on her calendar was that on a monthly basis, she'll have a glass of wine with her daughter, or sit down and have a coffee, or just a conversation and say, hey, when would work for you that I can have the kids this month? Right? So that can go on the calendar. So that's kind of a deeper step to that. Just put it, figure out what you don't want to mess with and put those on your calendar and save the time. What this is about is, once you've identified the things that you don't want to mess with in your world, the time with your loved ones, the time with your clients, the time that maybe you're out finding clients, the when you're doing live lunches like I do, something like that, anything you don't want to mess with, put them on the calendar or put the time to plan on the calendar. And what this is about is, it is about protecting the progress, because how many of you have had great ideas and new things come into their world, and you're hearing voices because you're listening to trainings and you're getting education and you're going to conferences and you're talking to your coaches and you're getting all these different things. All of these things are coming into our brain and they're all meshing around, and they can keep us stuck because we're thinking about them. But what we want to do is make sure that the thinking and the planning and the future progress, especially if you're a visionary leader, is not keeping us from advancing in the moment. And so what this is about is protecting those pieces, protecting those things that you've decided, I don't want to mess with them. I've got to protect them. And so that's why we want to bring them onto our calendar in a very specific state. So that is step 2. All right, who's got a calendar? Who's got a calendar? And let me see, throw it in the chat whether you're watching the replay or you're with me live. Are you an online calendar person? Are you a paper calendar person? Are you both? Are you online? Are you paper? Or are you both? Let me know right now. I am both, actually. I like to do my planning on paper, and then once it's decided, I put it on my online calendar, because then my husband sees it, my kids see it, like we all share our calendar. But when I'm actually doing the planning and the sorting of it, I work on paper. It's helpful for me that way. Or when I get into the details of my day, I do that on paper so that I can check things off and work with it within the day. So I'm both. I do my planning and my day-to-day interaction on a paper calendar, and then I have the overall scheduling on an online calendar so I can share it with everybody who is involved in that calendar with me. So that's what I do. So what do you do? Are you paper, or are you online, or are you both? Drop it in, drop it in. Okay, so number one, you want to identify when you've got lots of things going on as a leader, you want to identify what are the parts you don't want to mess with that are working, that are smooth, that are fabulous, that you love, that are great right now. Number two is putting them on the calendar, or at least putting the time to get them sorted on the calendar. That's number two. And then number three is thinking, okay, so now these are the things that I already have on the calendar. Number three is, what else do I want to have as a protected activity? Because remember, the reason we put these on the calendar is to protect that time, to protect them from getting thrown off to the side when something else comes into our world. Those are the pieces that are really important that are on your calendar. So if you looked at my calendar, you would see Mondays is open. You would see Tuesday, I have a coaching time with my clients that I do personally. I have a tech call that I work with my coach and the coach that also coaches in my Breakthrough Academy with my clients. On Wednesday, I have this power hour on my calendar, and then I have a personal coaching time again for my clients. And then we also have our what do we is that the date? Christina does our lead generation. And then through the week, it's got Paula with our social media. I have another personal coaching time for my clients. And then I have a time where I do or reach out to either get myself on podcasts or to connect with prospects. I protect that time as well. And so all I've done is I identified the key pieces that I want to have in my world to keep rolling. That's just the business ones. And then I have also the date night with my husband, the time with Jake, the time with Katie. Those are on my calendar because they're protected. I want to protect them. I want to make sure nothing messes with them. And so what are some of the protected times on your calendar? And then you want to get them on the calendar to block that in so that they're never overlooked. You're not like, oh my gosh, I haven't, talked to my kids in 3 weeks, right? We don't want to do that. That is such an important part of our world. Okay, so then you want to look at, once you have the ones you already have decided, what else do I want to have? And this is where you could get into a lot of depth as a business leader, where you're looking at pieces of the business that you're wanting to grow. And there are 5 essential pillars. You may know these already if you have worked with me or listened to me in a while, the 5 pillars of your business. What I do is I go through each of the pillars and say, okay, what do I have rolling in each of those? What am I missing in any of those? And then what's the next one that I really need to work on? And that I would put on protected time. Not all of them. Even if I had something missing in all 5, I wouldn't put all 5 on my calendar. I would put 1, because when we work on too many things at a time, it can spread us thin. Yes. Have you ever experienced that? Say throw the word thin in if you've ever had that, where you're like spread yourself thin because you're trying to work on lead generation at the same time you're trying to work on a website, at the same time you're trying to work on getting better communication with your current clients, at the same time that you're trying to plan an event, at the same time that you're trying to get people invited to the event to actually show up, and you're just you're all over the place, right? Have you ever done thin? Throw the word thin in if you've ever been there. I have too, right? I've done that where I'm like, I'm working on 17 things at a time. What was I thinking? Okay, so number 3 is, what else do I want to have as a protected activity? Okay. And then number 4 is diving into, what are the parts of my business? What are the parts, and this is, I kind of just talked about this, what are the parts of my business that would be the one thing to add? The one thing to add right now. Okay, so we've got number 1 is, what parts of your world right now, both personal and business, you don't want to mess with. It's going great. It's getting great results. Things are functioning the way you want them. What's working great? Okay, identify that. That's number 1. Number 2, put it onto the calendar to protect it. Protect it from not getting messed with by putting it on the calendar and devoting some time to it. Now, that time can be flexible as to when it happens. But so, for example, I'm going to protect my boot camps, but I don't know when they're necessarily going to happen, because I've still got conversations and things that I need to do with my team about that. But I'm going to put a time for this week on my calendar to sit down and figure that out. So there's something protected to make sure that that boot camp's going to happen. And then number 3, so put it onto the calendar in some capacity. And then number 3 is look at, what else do you want to have as a protected activity? Is there anything else that you want to make sure that you're protecting? Is there anything else that you would want to add in as a protected activity? That's number 3. And then number 4 is bringing it specifically to your business, is what would be the piece that maybe isn't there, that's not, maybe it's not the way you want it yet, but it's the next project. It's the improvement. It's the one that you're focusing on to grow. And that one, which one is it? And how can you put that on the calendar? Okay, so you have the things that are already functioning, putting them on the calendar, then brainstorming what else you want to have, and then deciding which one is going on the calendar that you're going to protect to make sure that that progress happens. And so there you go. That is just kind of a 4-step little process. Doesn't have to be hard, doesn't have to be difficult. Just think, okay, what do I want to protect? Where am I putting this on my calendar? What else might want to add to that? What do I want to protect? And then how can I put that onto my calendar and just lay that out? And that way you have that safe and protected, and your progress can move quickly despite all the things coming at you, or all the new ideas that are going to pop into your head, or all the emails that you might have to read, or maybe someone in your household gets sick, or maybe you're suddenly traveling when you weren't expecting it. Or as a leader, you can have people who need your help. You can have a client conversation that you want to go a little bit more into depth on, and so you're going to take extra time, and that pulls you away from your regular routine. Within the confines of the things that you've protected, that's how you can really have the fluidity and the flexibility, but still keeping the important pieces of your world protected. So there you go. There's a 4-step process for you for being a leader who's handling a lot, building a big business, really making a difference for other people, and just keep it simple. It doesn't have to be difficult, but dive in and do that anytime you're feeling overwhelmed, and you can really move forward. So I'm Carolyn Bishop. We are here every single week. I know this was just a kind of a random topic today. I am in the midst of looking at this right now, and I've got my lead generation course is about to be released, so I'm heads down working on that. That's my one project. So watch for that. We're going to be having a lot of fun with that, and we've got great things coming, so stay tuned. And if you want to get a reminder about what my topic is each week and what's happening, the site that you want to go to is where is it? There it is. Okay, go.carolynbishop.com/live, and that will take you to our little bot Bella, who will give you a quick reminder every week and say, hey, Carolyn's going live, click here, and it'll tell you what the topic is, so you can see if it's something you want to do. All right, so happy Wednesday. Have a great day, and I will talk to you. I'll see you guys here next week. All right, bye.